everybody, welcome to your ankle and foot map. In today's map you're going to need a foam roller, a therapy ball or a football, and then possibly a smaller football for the second round. So even though we're working on the feet and ankles today, we're also going to be working with the hips, the pelvis and the legs. And this is because any muscle imbalances in the hips and in the legs can refer down the chain, possibly contributing to ankle or foot instability. We're also going to be working, as usual, with our autopilot response because our autopilot is connected with our stress response, how our stress response or our autonomic nervous system is doing in relation to our stress and tension. And this for sure can also express itself through our musculature, through our pelvis, possibly over tucking under or maybe even contributing to a tuck and a tilt. And of course all of this can refer down the chain as well. Okay, so from here we're going to start with a body scan. You can lie on your back. And just feel into your body as it drops down onto the earth. Notice your feet, the weight on your heels, and the direction your toes are pointing, not changing or trying to fix, just noticing for now. Note if your calves feel weighted, or one more even than the other. Notice if your hamstrings feel weighted down, or are they raised off the ground? Notice if your weight feels heavy on your tail, or if the weight of your pelvis is on the soft of your buttocks. Notice if the arch of your lower back is deeper beneath your navel or above your navel. Notice the base of your ribs, if they're grounding down into the earth, allowing your diaphragm to breathe optimally, or if they're flaring upwards. Notice if your shoulders are heavy on the ground, or if they're slightly raised to allow your base ribs sink down. Notice the arch in the back of your neck in relation to your shoulder position. Notice the weight on the back of your head. And then turn to the right, noticing any possible tension in your neck. And then slowly turn to the left. And then back to center. So you can make your way up to a seat and take your foam roller and sit up onto it, bringing the roller onto your sacral area, and then nice and gently easing back onto your elbows, and then taking your shoulders to the ground. So your roller is on either side of your sacrum. You can take your hands onto either side of your hips, so your thumbs are just tucking into the outside of the hip. Draw your knees up over your hips. And we'll start with a glide, rocking from right to left. And so the hands are here just to make sure you don't tip over too far to the side, so that you stay on the sacral area. And here you're going to be working primarily on either side of the sacrum, which is working with the SIJ or sacroiliac joint. And from here we'll do some circles. And your circles can be as large or small as they need to be. And they can also be as irregular as you need them to be as well, staying in your pain-free range of movement. And then changing direction, nice and slow. and then tipping over to the left. So you're a little bit more now on the left SIJ, and then again you can make circles. Change direction. And then take your knees back to center. Right knee stacks over your right hip, and you can drop your left knee down and up. So clamshelling your left leg. And then from here, you can drop over to the right side and again make circles. Easing into the lateral border of your sacral tissue here. And again, big nice and gentle movements, nice and slow. And then changing direction. Your hand is still there, your right hand still on the outer hip, just so you're not toppling over onto your lateral hip. We're going to get to that soon. And then back to center. And then just drop your right knee out, clamshell your right leg. Knee dropping down and up and down and up and down and up. Great. And back to center. Okay, so from here you can roll up and come over onto the outer left hip and prop up onto your left elbow. We'll start here with a glide, so just rolling the hips up and down, so your roller and your body is moving. Your core is switched on, so you're moving from your core. If that was too painful on your outer hip, you could just hold in a static compression here as well and breathe nice and slow. And then from here, you can extend your left leg straight. And we'll just start by tipping forward and back. So a little bit of cross friction. And then a little bit of internal rotation, external rotation. So internal toes point skyward, external little toe to the ground. So internal, external. So staying on the side glutes. Where this is an indirect shear. Very good. And then you can bend your knee up and come to the right side. So from here, coming onto your right elbow, right knee a little bit bent, and again, both hands to the ground and just rolling on that outer right hip. Gliding forward and back. Good. And then from here, extending your right leg straight and a little bit of rolling forward, rolling back. Cross friction here on these side glutes, glute medius, glute minimus. Can often get very stuck. And then internal, external rotation. So toes point skyward and down. A few of these as you lean into the side glutes, deciding on your pressure. And this is an indirect shear. Okay, great. And then from here back to center, and you can lie back on the ground and take your legs to a figure of four. We'll start with the left foot. Up, left knee bending. And you can pull your right thigh in, draw your left knee back, and hold here for a couple of breaths. And as you exhale, you're pulling into your core, pulling your navel back. Allowing a slight tuck of the pelvis. If you wish, you can shh your exhales. Shh, and then inhale. And once again, shh. Okay, so from here, we're going to inhale, tilt the pelvis, extend the spine. And exhale, tuck the pelvis, pull into the core. Shh. Inhale. Exhale. Shh. Inhale. Exhale. Shh. Inhale. Exhale. Shh. Inhale. Exhale. Shh. Great. And then from here, just rocking forward and back again. And just allowing yourself rock onto the left side glute here. And from the side glute, just doing little cross friction. And then changing sides. Making your figure of 4, pulling the left thigh in, drawing your right knee back. Allowing a slight tuck of the pelvis. We'll do 2 breaths, inhaling. Exhaling. Shh. Inhale. Exhale. Shh. Inhale, tilting the pelvis, extending the spine. Exhale. Shh. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then just tipping over to the outer right hip. And just making little glides to the right and left. And then come back to center. Okay, so from here, we'll just, again, you can stay up on with your pelvis on your roller, and we'll just do a little marching. So again, your pelvis is slightly tipped, you're pulling into your core. And then hug your right knee into your chest, inhale your left leg up for a draw bridge. And here, you're not trying to, as you lower your left leg, you're not trying to lower it as much as you can. The main thing is you're knitting your ribs, pulling into your core, and keeping a tuck of the pelvis, and just seeing how far your leg wants to go down. And holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then inhale up, and change sides. Inhale the right leg high, pelvis tucked, pulling into the core. Exhale down, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale the leg up. Good. And then you can unroll your roller off the ground and take your roller to the tip of your hamstrings at the top of your legs. So here we'll do an indirect shear. So you're just going to allow your toes point wide as you abduct your legs out to the side, and then roll onto the inner heel as you draw them in. Yeah, so little gliding movements, creating cross friction through your tissues at the top of your hamstrings. Officially, this is a glide. Well, actually, officially it's a shear, even though you're doing a gliding action. Good. And then we can can roll your bolster down. So in your own time, if you wanted, you could, if you had an imbalance here, if you felt, oh wow, my left or my right hamstring is really tight, you could just do one leg at a time. You can just press pause on your video, and you could spend, like, some people might even need to spend right up to 5 or 10 minutes here. But we're not going to do that today. Okay, and then from here, coming up onto, for the back, we're going to work with the back of the calves. So from here, come up onto your bum, and you can cross your legs, placing your right ankle over your left. Bend your knees a little bit. And again, we're just going to bend the left knee, point the left toes out a little bit, rolling the roller down to the ankle, then turn the knees to the other side and roll back. Toes point wide, then knees, turn, extend. Yeah, so a few of these. If the roller starts creeping up, just push it down. Good. So coming now from our glide back to a static compression, just sitting here, allowing the weight of your top leg fall down. And we'll start with some plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. So plantar flexion, pointing the toes, and then extending the toes skyward, extend into your heel, and continue. Doing it a few more times. So if you can, as you point your toes, try and keep your toes spread. It's easy to spread your toes in dorsiflexion, and can you keep them spread as you go into plantar flexion? So this is an indirect shear. And then from here, come up into dorsiflexion. And then you can U-shape the foot. And again, your U-shape can be as irregular as it needs to be. You can stay in your U-shape, or if you wish, you can make circles. And then change the direction of your circle. Great, and to the other side. So knees bend slightly, weight your left ankle over your left, and roll up, turn the feet and down. Up, turn, down. So a few more. Getting the fluid moving through your fascia, releasing any adhesions between the muscles. And then coming back to a point of static compression and allowing your top foot weight down, and then dorsiflex, spread your toes and point, flex 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 and point. One more and point. Flex and U shapes now, or smiley shapes. And if you wish, circles. Again, allowing your circles be as small as or irregular as they need to be, staying in your pain-free range of movement. And the other side. to a seat. Okay, so working here now on the outer calf muscles with the lateral chain peroneals. You can just take your outer ankle onto your roller and press your elbow into your knee and your opposite hand into your ankle and roll. And it's up to you how much you want to lean your upper body weight into the outer calf. And again, here we're just working with a glide forward and back. So it's quite a long area, so it's like you could divide it into two. You could do your lower outer calf and then your upper separately rather than do big sweeps. Yeah, so just, especially if they're tender, you're better off choosing a smaller area and just doing your glide in about 3 to 4 inches forward and back. Good. And then the other side. Leaning on and rolling forward and back, taking deep breaths. And then come back to a seat. Okay, so from here, you can take a bowl for the inner calf. Now, if you don't have a bowl, you can use your thumb. We're basically targeting a muscle here called the tibialis posterior, which moves from the head of the fibula on the outer calf, but it moves through the back of the calf behind your shin bone. And it hooks here around the inside of your ankle bone, or below it. So this is your medial malleolus below your ankle bone, and it hooks in here to the arches of the feet. So it's one of the muscles that contribute to lifting the arches of your feet. And it's a real problematic muscle for many people, especially people who are trying to ease their heels down in squats. So you could just direct, if you're palpating with your thumbs, just direct the flesh of your calf away from the shin bone. So even if it's on the back of the calf as well as the side, it's so deep that it's easier to get into from the side. You may find a lot of people find it very tender and surprised at how tender it is. You can also take your bowl and do a pin and spin if you have a bowl. So you're just getting the fluid here moving through the tissues and start to break up any adhesions. If you wish, you could even take your ball around the medial malleolus into the arch of the foot. Great, and then to the other side. Great, and now we're going to work with the foot map. Okay, so coming to standing and take your feet a good hip width. And stand tall, and we'll start with a little interoception. You can close your eyes and sense and feel into your body. And notice if your footprint feels more weighted on one side. And then you can open your eyes. Okay, great. So we're going to start off taking the ball underneath we'll do left foot. Right at the center of the foot, which is your P1. And you're going to apply pressure and then side shift over to your right foot. Shift onto the ball and off the ball. So you'll do this about 5 to 10 times. Breathing as you move, all the time sensing and feeling into your body. And then you can take your ball underneath your right foot at P1, and again applying your pressure. Easing on, easing off. Great, and then back to the first foot, and from here we'll go to P5. So P5 is just at the front of your heel, and we'll do a forward and back compression, so pressing on and easing off, pressing on, easing off, and continuing nice and slow. And then from here, keeping your foot on your feet, your P5, you can, and the ball of the sole of the foot grounded down, you can lift your toes and spread your toes, and then claw your toes, so you're bending them in and then spreading them out. Clawing them in, spreading them out, clawing in, spreading out. Clawing in, spreading out, clawing in, and spreading out. Good. And then from here, take the weight forward onto the forefoot, and then just you can create a shear where you're just moving your heel to the right and your left, trying to keep the ball pinned, but you're just rolling the skin around the foot. At the heel. Nice. And then from here, we'll do forefoot to heel glide. So starting at 2A, so your big toe mound. And then you can just start to press gently and then roll forward onto your heel, slide back onto your second metatarsal, 2B, and roll forward onto your heel, and slide back to C, rolling it forward and back, and then continuing and back, and one more time and back. Okay, so from here, weight on the big toe mound and compressing the ball onto the big toe mound, weight on the center of the heel, and create some cross friction, internal rotation, external rotation. Again, putting as much weight into your ball as you feel is good for you today. And then from here, doing an overall rinse. So in the rinse, it's light compression. You're just getting the fluid moving through the fascia, through the whole of your foot, waking up the whole of your connective tissue. Good. Nice. Okay, so coming to your second side, P5, just at the front of the heel, and forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. So then leaning forward, pressing into the forefoot and lifting your toes, spreading them, and claw, and spreading, and claw, spreading, and claw, spreading, and claw, spreading, claw, spread, and claw. Good. And then leaning forward onto the forefoot now, pinning the ball, and then just shearing your P5 area, dragging the skin from right to left. The ball may move, so it can maybe somewhere between a shear and a glide. But you're not trying to roll your ball, you're trying to move the foot more than the ball. And from here, forefoot to heel. So starting here at your big toe mat, and then back to the heel. Second toe, back to the heel. Third, good. So gliding actions, fourth and back, and pinky toe mat, and then back to the heel. Good. So from here, now ball onto the forefoot and weight on your heel. Internal, external rotation. Good, and then your rinse. Good, keeping it light, just getting the circulation going, fluid moving through your fascia, on the whole of the foot, waking up the plantar fascia. Good. And then releasing. Nice. So from here, we're going to do a second round. And as I say, if you wish, you can take your small ball. So it's a little bit more local, less global. So again, starting here with the left foot on point number 5 and pressing down, pressing on and off. Good. So the harder the ball, the more gentle you want to be with your pressure. Nice. And then from here, moving back to 5. Okay, so taking your ball into the center of your left foot, P5, and then easing your weight down and easing off. Easing in and back. Good. So continuing nice and slow. And then to the other side. Into your right foot and easing on, creating your compression, side shifting off, easing on, side shifting off. And then from here back to your left foot and take the ball to the front of your heel, your P5. And you can take your other foot back behind you and then just tipping forward, creating your compression and then easing back. Tipping forward and easing back. Good. Moving from your core, keeping your breath nice and relaxed. And then tipping forward onto the forefoot and lift your toes and spread them and then claw. Spread and claw. Spread and claw. Spread, claw, spread, claw. Great. Spread and then place them down onto the ground and tip forward again. And here you can bend the knee a little bit and just pin your ball onto your mat and then try and move your heel, creating a shear as you move your heel to the right and left. Your ball may move a little bit, so maybe a little bit of a glide as well, but you're not trying to move your ball. Good. And then over to the right side, onto your P5 at the front of your heel. And left foot behind, and then easing forward and easing back. And forward and back. Forward and back. And forward and back. And forward. Back. Last one. Forward and back. So from your P5 here, you can press into your forefoot again. Spread your toes and claw. Spread your toes and claw. Spread, claw, spread, claw, spread, claw, spread, and claw. Spread and then place down, tip forward, weight on your P5, pin your ball, bending your right knee a little bit, and then just shear the heel off your ball. Again, the ball may move a little bit, creating a glide, but you're trying to pin the ball and move the skin on your P5 at the front of the heel as much as you can. Great. And then from here, you can come back to standing. And we'll do forefoot to heel. So from here, putting weight on your 2A, your first metatarsal, big toe mound, and then just rolling forward. 2B, and then rolling forward. So second toe, middle toe, and then rolling forward. Fourth toe, rolling forward. Fifth toe, rolling forward. Good. And then from here, you can put your weight on your outer calf, so halfway between your little toe and your heel, and then just pressing down and backing off. Pressing down and backing off. Pressing and backing off. Good. Leaning forward and back, leaning forward and back. Good. And then moving your ball to the inner arch, pressing forward and back. So remember here, you're not really trying to like move muscles, or especially if you've dropped arches, you're not really trying to, over release the muscles here in your foot, especially if for some people they're actually quite collapsed. You're really trying to get the fluid moving through. You're trying to wake your muscles up, creating a sense of responsiveness more than like more release, yeah, because you do want to keep a good inner arch. And then take your ball forward a little bit, just to the top of your inner arch, and then tipping forward and back. Good. Getting the energy flow through this part of your foot and the fluid moving through your fascia. Good. Very nice. And then moving on to the right side. So starting now with the ball just in front of your big toe mound. And we'll do forefoot to heel. So forward and back. Second toe forward and back. Third toe forward and back. Fourth toe forward, back. And little toe forward and back. Good. And then pressing here into your outer arch, your point 3. And then easing forward and back. Tipping it forward and back. Tipping forward and back. Tipping forward and back. Last one. And back. Inner arch now, point 4A, forward and back, and forward and back. So again, if you know your arches are a bit collapsed, just not giving too much weight onto your compression, just having a feeling of energy flowing or feeling into the flow you're creating by directing the fluid through your tissues. Good, and then just bring it forward, so halfway between your inner arch and your big toe mound, or just behind your big toe mound, and then pressing here in 4B. Good, and this can be an area related to bunions, so it can be quite stuck for a lot of people. We'll cover this in mobility. Good. Nice. And then giving an overall rinse, keeping the bowl light. Good. Just making sure all of the fluid is circulating through your plantar fascia, and then over to the other side. Good. Nice. And then coming back to feet hip width. Closing your eyes, sensing and feeling into your body. And just noticing how weighted you feel, how more grounded you feel, the energy flow between your body and the earth. And how that translates through your legs, and your pelvis, even into through your spine, shoulders and head and neck. And then from here you can lie down and come back and take a little rest. And we'll come back into our body sensing. Sensing into the weight on your heels, the point of your toes. Sensing into the weight of your calves. The weight of your hamstrings. The arch of your lower back, above and below your navel point. And how that plays into the weight on your tail and your buttocks. The weight of your base ribs on the ground. Your shoulders. The arch of the back of the neck. The head. You can turn your head to the right and the left, and then back to center, sensing into your whole body, head, neck, shoulders, arms, down through the waves of the spine, into the pelvis and the legs, your whole body. Noticing the feeling in your body from right to left. If you feel weighted evenly, balanced, checking in with the flow of breath through your nostrils. And bending your knees, rolling over to the side, making your way to a seat. I hope you enjoyed.